Okay, today's video we're going to talk about how to track online to offline sales. Basically, you're trying to run a Google campaign. How do you track the sales that you get from that you're marketing to people online through Google Ads, and to try to get them into your store locally, whether or not the ad that they saw drove the purchase in your local store or something else drove it. More specifically, how to make money at actually doing that. What ads should you run online through using your Google Ads account that'll give you millions of dollars in yearly sales, driving traffic at your local store. Given the fact that you have a local store, by the way, you have a tremendous advantage on all the other competition online that are trying to do online only, because people would rather deal with somebody locally because they can get whatever they're looking for online that you sell immediately by coming in. And there's a hybrid model that people are using now where they operate like an online store so that people that want to deal strictly online can find them, but they can basically browse your online store and then come in and get your stuff, their stuff immediately locally at your store. So some people can just basically, if you're looking for instance, a mobility scooter, like elderly people have that can't get around very well, that, they ride, and they're looking for that online. You can, even if they're, a lot of times, obviously they won't even be looking for a local store, but you can capture their attention while they're looking for that and say, hey, we're a local store. Browse our online selection, indicating that if you're going to check any website for that product, you might as well check this product or this website that's backed by a local seller, because if I do want to get it now, I can get it now. If I want to return it, I can return it to a local store. I don't have to package this thing up, in other words, which in some spaces that's more important than others. And then I can probably trust them more because I got a throat to choke if it doesn't go right. I don't have to just deal with somebody through the phone. I can literally go there and bitch at them if I want to. So there's multiple advantages that you have in the perceived mind of the user selling to somebody who wants to look for your product online, that you can easily get them to drive those customers into your store and get those customers for yourself. So everybody else has, let's say an average 3% rate of getting people that click on their ads to come in and buy on their website. You have an average of 5 to 6% conversion rate of the same clicks into a sale, because you are going to get a higher click-through rate on your ads saying you're local, which drops your cost per click, which you get more money that way. But furthermore, just the fact that you're local, they're going to be more likely to go with you once they actually do get to your site. So you're going to earn a lot more than the people that you're competing with nationally that are trying to advertise to people on your turf that you can get way easily than you can get them. Of course, they have the economies of scale. They can advertise nationwide in a lot of cases. But the people, at least locally, within driving distance of your store, you can knock them dead real easy. And the people that come in from your ads, you can track those people directly with Google's enhanced conversion tracking system that I'm going to talk more in detail about on this video. Tracking your results, using those results to improve and increase and maximize the amount of money you're using the method I'm going to talk about in terms of marketing online to get people into the store in droves locally at your shop. So anyway, with that said, enhanced conversion tracking as a concept here, or shouldn't I say concept, as a thing that Google has for conversion tracking on Google Ads, came out within the last year as a way to make online tracking more accurate. So what it does is it basically has all the data that Google, if you are a Google user, you usually, create a account to be a Gmail user, they have all your information, your name, your email address, your phone number, all of that. And if you set up conversion tracking on your website, basically which would be able to track phone calls, contact form fills, people checking out through the cart, let's say, just to keep it simple, if we're talking about e-commerce purchases, you can track if somebody gets to the purchase success page on your site. So after you purchase through the cart, there's a page that says, thank you for your purchase. If that page loads, that information indicates if they got to that page that they made a purchase successfully, and you could pass that information back to Google so you could see it inside your Google Ads account and which ad drove that what ad did they click on originally that then led into getting a sale, as well as what keyword and so forth. And then enhanced conversion tracking allowed you to get about 5 to 10% more accurate data and more conversions that's picked up through the purchase tracking mechanism I just described, because that mechanism will pick up that a sale occurred, but sometimes the fact that they came from an ad gets lost in translation, because people a lot of times visit your site multiple times, and they came out with enhanced conversion tracking to give you a bit more accurate data. It'll track 5 to 10% more of the people that come from your ads. And ultimately, so instead of saying that you got 90 purchases last month from people who clicked on an ad, you actually got 95, and they were able to get that extra 5 because you had enhanced conversion tracking set up, which compares, if you got it set up, the customer information that they gave you during the checkout process on your shopping cart and on your website, and give that back to Google, which Google then uses that name and email address and look at all the customers that they have in their database and then match people that way, instead of just through the loading of that purchase success page that I talked about earlier, that normal conversion tracking is predicated on. So, but what I don't see people talking about is how to use enhanced conversion tracking to track offline sales. So just as I mentioned before, that the way that enhanced conversion tracking is set up is you give it customer data, and then Google looks at all their user data and they say, oh yeah, I know who that is, John Smith. John Smith actually made it, did X, Y, and Z, and oh yeah, I can see, there's a match here. I know that the person that we drove to you, made a purchase. Basically, bottom line, you could track conversions by just telling Google, John Smith came into our store to purchase, and they could tie that to which ad they originally clicked on via your Google Ads campaign that you were running. So you basically, if you're going back to the mobility scooter product example, if for somebody to type in mobility scooters into Google, click on your Google ad via Google, gets to your website, looks at your online inventory, decides that they're going to go into your local store to finish their purchase, you can actually get that customer's information at the checkout at your physical store on who that is and their email address. Give that email address and that person's name back to Google inside your Google Ads account through enhanced conversion tracking, and they'll be able to tell you what ad they originally clicked on, what keyword they typed in originally, so you can use that to not only just see if your ads are working, what the ROI is, but to improve your campaigns, because that data goes into making your campaigns more and more efficient over time, so you can keep making more and more money from it. So this is a good, tremendous for people to ultimately be able to, that have an offline store, run ads for it, given that the whole system, as to not only just seeing if it works, but to make your campaigns better, is based upon this conversion data about what worked, what didn't work. And, ultimately, people weren't able to have that data come into their ad account if people were buying at their physical store, but, where they were starting online. Now with enhanced conversion tracking, you can actually do that. And then actually what you do is you actually, during the checkout, because before, to track people that started online and then came offline, to track those purchases, they would use a discount code, and that can be done. And there's other small ways that you can do it. I've talked about in other videos where you can use web beacons, but this greatly simplifies the process, because all you got to have is that customer's name and their email address or their phone number. So it's customer name and phone number, or customer name and email address. Give that back to Google, and they'll tell you what ad they originally clicked on and so forth. And so all you do when you just have the person that runs the register at your local shop, you have them ask for their name and their email address, or customer name and phone number when they check out. And you could say the best reason that I've seen my clients mention was you're going to email them the receipt, because you don't do receipts just over the counter, and then you'll be able to get the information most of the time. And obviously that's not the best way. Also, we give you, there's an incentive, if you give us the email address, the next time you come in, we'll give you 10% off of your purchase, but we want to make sure, and we'll attach that to your receipt, which we'll then email you. And there's different ways, but bottom line, if you could get the email address or phone number and customer's name that comes through and makes purchases at your store during the checkout process inside your store, you can use that to then find out which ad, what keyword, and so forth they originally clicked on that got them interested in your company in the first place. But initially going through to your website and looking at your website, and then eventually coming into your store, and then eventually purchasing at your store. And then that data, even if you had to give 10% off their next order to get their customer information while they're in your store, that goes into the millions you're going to make with your ads, because once you get a customer and Google knows what ad, what keyword, and everything that they initially came in on, that where they found you at, they can then double down on that in the future and then do less of other stuff in the future that didn't work. And so when you combine the stuff that works to drive people that are online to your store with the ability to use this enhanced conversion tracking process of just having to know the customer's name and then knowing which ad worked and which ad didn't work, so you can make ever increasing efficiency upgrades to your ad account, you have a very, very profitable system that can work for any offline business essentially. So, for the most part, there's some stuff that you're just simply not going to research online for the most part, but anything where you do any kind of searching online for those products, it works phenomenally well. And your competition's not going to be doing it, which leaves it wide open for you, which is why it works so well. But anyway, with all that said, that there's a very easy ability, just by knowing the customer's name, which ads that you're running online to drive sales to at your local store. Here's the things that I would recommend doing online with your Google Ads account to get the millions in sales going by running online ads, to get the sales occurring at your physical store, so you can make a few $1 million a year doing this in your local market. What I've done is I've listed all the things that I would normally do and have done for other companies in your situation that have a local store that want to use online Google Ads to drive sales to your store and traffic to your store to purchase. And I've listed them in the exact order I would do, given the stuff that's at the top of the list here is the most profitable, and then we go to the least profitable stuff at the bottom, which, if you're wondering, why would I even do the stuff that's not profitable? The key thing here is each thing is going to be profitable at a different level. And with the conversion tracking data that comes in, there'll be a lot of times just 20% of it that's profitable. And you'll see the 20% that's profitable with the conversion data that you get through this enhanced conversion tracking process. Then you just stop the other 80% of it that doesn't work, and now you got 20% of something else that will drive more sales to your local store on an ongoing basis for years afterwards, because you've tested everything, found the part that works, then ran the part that works from now on, and only from now on. So anyway, with all that said, here's the system I would use to drive online sales with my Google Ads account to drive a few $1 million of extra sales for my local business. First, the thing you're going to do with your Google Ads account to get offline sales at your physical store is you're going to target people looking for any local stores. So if you are a furniture store, people that are looking for a local furniture store, you're going to target all those people first. Why? Because they're already looking for a local store. There's absolutely no way that there wouldn't be a mismatch there, and you want to go after those people first because it's going to be the most profitable. The closer you can get from what they're searching for and what you actually do, the higher your ROI is going to be, because there's message market match there. So you would want to go after the people that were there's the closest match to what you actually do first. And with that, almost all of your whatever you're spending to do it is going to probably work, and you're not going to have any weeding out to get things profitable at the level you want it to be profitable, ROI wise. But anyway, once you've extracted all the value you can out of that, that'll get you the ROI you're looking for, which of course if you're tracking sales and you import the customers using enhanced conversion tracking and how much the customer spent, it'll show you right in your ad account, okay, this is what the revenue and the profit was for this campaign versus this campaign. And the same thing at the ad level, this ad drove this much profit, this ad drove this much profit. So and then of course it goes down to the time of the day of the week, part of the city that you're in, age of the user, gender of the user, parental status of the user, and on and on and on. So you could basically see what to weed out, which again, at the stuff at the top of this list here, you won't even have to do any weeding out because it's just so directly relevant to what you do that it just will work without any refinements. But once you've done the first thing, I mentioned targeting people looking for a local shop that does exactly what you do. Go after people looking for competitors' shops locally. So if you're the furniture store, you're targeting people looking for other local furniture stores in your area that are within the same, driving distance of your store, if you will. And you go there and you say, don't shop with them, shop with us. New customers get a 10% discount on any piece of furniture that you buy on your first experience. That's one example of how to extract and steal customers from a local competitor that they might as well be dealing with you instead of them. Once you've got all the value out of that, you could go to people looking for specific, certain items we specifically sell. So if there's a certain brand of couch that we sell, a make and model, or to get more specific on this, on the mobility scooters, if there's a mobility scooter that you carry and it's called the Johnson 1228, and that's the make and the model of the actual scooter that you carry. If somebody's searching for that exact make and model of scooter, you want to advertise there. And as long as they're within your driving distance of your store, you make sure you show up on Google for the person looking for that. And you do like I mentioned before, where you say, we have the Johnson, whatever I said as far as the model number there, in stock. We also are local in Orlando. So not only do we have the exact item you're looking for, but we also have it in Orlando. And then you also say, browse online or come in store. So they know, oh, I can look online, and if I want it, I can come in if I want to, or I could, I know I can return it because it's local, and on and on. The benefits of dealing with somebody local, even though you might want to just do business online still, purely online, or you could go online, then go offline. Anyway, people inherently, even though without thinking through all the benefits, you're just going to have a higher response rate and higher conversion rate from people that just know you're local than not. So, but once you extract all the value you can from people looking for the exact items you sell, you go after people looking for competitor items on Google. So what I always do is I take all the items that I sell, and then what are all the directly competing items for each item that I sell. So this item here has an item that has basically the same specs and same price level from these 4 competitors, and then I want to show up on Google for those people that are looking for those 4 other directly competing items, and I want to say, don't buy before you buy this competitor item, and you call it out by name. You don't have to do it exactly that way, but it works the best if you do it that way. Insert the name of our product instead. It's 3 times as powerful for half the price. And then you get them thinking like, well, I was going to buy that other item because I got referred to it, but they're saying it's a better deal. I got to check this out. They get to your site, they look at it. And of course you mention, like with the other stuff, the other keywords, that, hey, here's our item. You can buy it. If you want to buy it locally, we're 15 minutes away from where you're at right now. So you can buy online or you can come in. And then it'll work well because they know you're local again. So you go after all of that. Then you're going to go after, going into number 5, people looking for our niche category of items on Google. So with the same mobility scooter example, if the one thing that kind of makes all of our scooters unique is we sell lithium-powered mobility scooters, whereas everybody else sells, metal halide and lithium, if you will. If somebody's searching specifically for lithium-powered mobility scooters, what we specialize in, then we want to target them first because they're more likely to convert than somebody just looking for a mobility scooter straight out. somebody that's searching for is searching for something more generic like mobility scooter is going to convert at a less rate because a certain percentage of those people are just never going to buy a mobility scooter, and you're paying to educate the market. Versus if they are looking for lithium power mobility scooters, the likelihood that they're actually going to go on to buy something is higher. So you would naturally want to target that first. It's also a little less competitive, which means you'll pay a little less per click. And so you would want to extract all the value from that first. Again, you do the same thing as I mentioned before. Lithium, in this case, it would be lithium powered mobility scooters for sale, located in Orlando, shop online or come into our store. And you extract all the value you can from that. Then you're going to go after people looking for our general category of items on Google. So then on a generic basis, if somebody searches for a mobility scooter, we want to show up for them as well and extract all the value we can that way. We sell mobility scooters located in Orlando. Browse online or come into our local shop. And this one may be profitable without having to make any refinements. But like I was saying before, if it ain't quite profitable enough because it's a little bit too broad, and a lot of these people are tire kickers, then you just go into your settings. You use your conversion data that you're now picking up from your enhanced conversion tracking of whether people buy or not buy from your people searching in the mobility scooters by itself, and then you find out, oh, male isn't really profitable, but female is. We'll get rid of male. Oh, people that are, between 55 and 65 isn't profitable, but 65 plus is profitable. And then you just start narrowing stuff down. It tells you exactly what to do and what not to do. What's profitable, what's not. And even an idiot could make a campaign profitable if you just have the right conversion data coming into our account, because it literally takes no brain power to know what to keep and what not to keep. If you know you've got to be able to get $5 in sales for every dollar of ad spend you're spending, well, it tells you where you're getting a 5-to-1 return and where you're not getting it. And where you're not getting it, you just shut off those parts of what you're doing. So you may find out that only female over the age of 65 from the northern part of Orlando on mobile devices is where the 5-to-1 return comes, and I'm only going to run that for that particular keyword. Then you can do that on a keyword by keyword basis. So you would extract all the value though from people looking for the types of items you sell, couches, mobility scooters or whatever, and see what you can get from there. Then once you do that, that's everything on Google search that you could possibly get. Google search is where you go first because people are looking to buy right away. It's more competitive. Everybody wants that traffic, but if you go ahead and listen to the tips I have for setting up search campaigns on this channel after this video, if you check that out, you'll be able to make it work guaranteed. Trust me on this, because the way that I explain is the way that Google wants you to set it up, and very few competitors that you have are going to do it. Virtually nobody in your space is going to be doing it. But anyway, once you get all that value out of Google, then you're going to do 3 through 6 on this list on YouTube. So to go through this again, people looking for certain items that you sell on YouTube. They're watching a video on YouTube about a specific model or items that you sell. You want to have a video ad show up during those videos so you can get traffic to your site. Furthermore, people looking for your competitors' items that compete with the items you sell. They're watching a video about that. You want to show up on those videos. People looking for information about lithium-powered mobility scooters. If they're watching videos about that on YouTube, we want to get that traffic to our site. Again, as long as they're within driving distance of our store still here. And then finally, again, if somebody's looking for any information, watching any videos about mobility scooters in general on YouTube, we again want our video ad to show up saying, hey, we sell mobility scooters, we're local, we have a bunch in stock. You can view what we have in stock online, or you can come into our shop and get whatever value you can out of that as well. So, and furthermore, the most profitable thing to do is to get your video ad, by the way, on videos that are talking about these exact things. You should also, though, be able to make money targeting people who have made a search for these things in the recent past, but are on YouTube watching other videos, because Google allows you to do that through custom audiences. So, or custom intent audiences itself is basically what it's called. So if people have searched for any one of these things and they're on YouTube, you can have your ad show up for them, get some extra sales that way. If somebody has been to your direct competitor's site in the recent past, you can have the video ad show up for them on YouTube while they're watching other videos, which you should also be able to get value there. And with that, if you have the resources, it'll get 3 times more results than if they're looking at competitor item A and you have a video ad that says, just like I explained on Google, you were considering competitor item A, our item B is 3 times as fast for half the price. You want to speak to the user as if you know exactly what they were considering, which exact item, and why our item's better than that item. Because if you start to get generic and say we have the XYZ brand's better than this brand, it's just not going to catch their attention at the same rate. So if you want to talk at the item level with the competitor campaign on YouTube specifically, but once you've done all that, again, 3 through 6 for YouTube, then, and you've weeded out what doesn't work and kept what did work on YouTube, you go ahead and you do 3 through 6 on the Google Display Network as the last step. This is all stuff you can do through Google Ads. You can do YouTube ads through Google Ads. You can do Google Display Network ads on Google Ads. So on Google Display Network, people that are on web pages about the specific items you sell. You want a banner ad that shows up on those websites. People that are on web pages that are about your competitors' items that are for sale, you want on those pages to get them to your site, by telling them, hey, the item you're considering, it's not as good as our item, and come see why, or whatever. Then, of course, you want on web pages, you want a banner ad on web pages, on any web page about lithium-powered mobility scooters, because that's what we specialize in, and we want to get people that are looking into that to get to our site, and we can get more sales for our company that way through our local store. Then, of course, lastly, again, people that are looking for a general category of item like mobility scooters. We still sell mobility scooters, and we may not have every mobility scooter for sale, but we're going to at least try to have our banner ad show up on web pages about mobility scooters to get that traffic to our site, as long as they're in our local, within local driving distance of our store, because we could probably get some sales there as well. And then at least, like I said, after running the ads and we shut off parts of what we did that didn't work, we've got another segment of traffic that we can get that will get sales to our store at the ROI we still want. So that right there is the long process of stuff that we can all do that'll bring in some profit, some more than others, to bring in the millions in sales that Google Ads could ultimately deliver for your company when you have enhanced conversion tracking data about who buys, how much they spent, feeding into your account, and you go through this list of things that normally always will work at some degree or other, and you test and refine and exploit each individual one on this list. So a great thing about Google Ads, whether it's YouTube ads or Google search ads or Google Display Network ads, that's different than Facebook or any place else, is you can tell what people are looking for exactly. If you sell mobility scooters, you can only target them if they're looking for mobility scooters. If you want somebody that wants new furniture, you can only get in front of them if they're looking for new furniture. On Facebook, technically, for the most part, you can sort of do that, but it's not nearly as laser targeted as what Google has for you here. And for a local store, you sell generally a certain theme of item. Well, just get in front of every single person who's considering that theme of item in your local geographic market to come into your store, and you'll make tons of money. And so that's in general what I personally do with new clients. We go through this, and a lot of times this can take years to get all the way through the list, and using the money from the first one to parlay, starting the second one and then the third one, and in a waterfall fashion, we take money from the stuff that works to try another thing and another thing and another thing, and then by the time we're all done, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, we are making several $1 million a year extra in sales that just simply weren't there before. And go through it, and it's go through the process with the client there. We actually have to guarantee results for our clients in order to get paid, and this is stuff that just gets results every time. It's not a matter of if it will work, but when, and how long is it going to take to refine what you did to find the parts that are working and eliminate the parts that aren't. So anyway, with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Now you know how to track online to offline sales and get ad campaigns to drive millions in sales for your local business, starting online and then to buy offline for your company, using a hybrid model, which I recommend all local sellers to have, where you have a website where technically you can buy online, but you use it as a main tool to get people to know what you have online so they'll come into your store, given more and more people are expecting to see what you have in your local store by checking through your website first, because they don't want to come into your store, waste all the time driving there without actually knowing that you have an item that they're going to want to buy once they do drive in there. It's getting to be a minimum standard just to be competitive with an offline business, given what you can do online. But once you have the online available and you have the offline available, you can beat the online people by a wide margin doing just what I talked about here in today's video. So I'll wrap it up with that. If you liked the video, first of all, I'd appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up, but if you have any questions about any of this stuff, you're trying to run an online to offline campaign, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. You can ask me any question, by the way, that you want about PPC or online ads. I'd be happy to answer it for you using my 15 years of experience running online ads. Beyond that, I would definitely also recommend subscribing to the channel, as you're not going to find better information about making money and have actionable advice on making money with online ads that you're going to find on this channel, as I personally manage dozens and dozens of ad accounts for clients on an ongoing basis to find out the stuff that I give you on this channel about what works and doesn't work. Most of these guys that are giving advice on YouTube are professional YouTubers, not ad agency owners working directly with their clients, or they manage a couple campaigns, and you just don't have the breadth of knowledge unless you're managing lots and lots and lots of campaigns and what's working on an ongoing basis. And we also have to guarantee our clients results before we even start getting paid, which nobody else does in this whole ad industry, which should say how well these strategies do work, and you're getting stuff that has to work, basically. So therefore, you should subscribe. And I also got a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, where you can also find great information from myself in a written form on how to get guaranteed results on your campaigns and so forth there. As a final couple things I want to mention before I wrap this up, as usual, I have a PPC management firm. If you want the best person to hire possible in the ad management space that's available, you want to reach out to my firm and let's have a conversation about what you're doing. I love to, work with different companies that have great products and services and work on a contingency type of relationship, or with a contingency based or type of relationship, in that if you get more results, we get paid more, and we won't take fees up front unless you're making more money. We normally don't take fees until you've made more money than we actually are even asking for. So it's literally we're financing your results of your campaign up front, and you get to work with the best person in the space while doing it. If you reach out to my firm and it looks like we can work together, I'll go ahead and give you an estimate of what sales results you can get short, medium, and long term, and then from there you can decide if it makes sense in terms of what we're getting paid for the level of sales that we're able to provide. So with that, and then also as a final note, we also are offering campaign templates to our clients, in that we've worked in hundreds of different markets, and we've spent years building up campaigns in a bunch of markets. And if you're not looking for a straight up ad management firm that can just take over everything to do with your online advertising, run with it like we normally do, which is our bread and butter here, we also sell the campaign templates that get results in certain markets. So if you're not competing with our client or past client, you're in a different geographic market than our clients, what we can do is take the results we got in that particular market and sell them to you, copy and paste the results into your account, and skip all the work of having to figure out what works in that market yourself, as well as spending all the money figuring out what doesn't work. And we can tell you what results you'd get in that market up front because we've already ran campaigns in that market. And it's literally cut, copy, and paste into your account with the ad account, with the landing pages if necessary, and get predictable results for your company. A lot of guys that have come to us for this are using the campaign templates to start up a new business in a totally new niche, because the campaigns get results and they can just outsource the work to somebody else and take 10% or so as a margin just for themselves because they have the ironclad campaign template that works in that market. And that's all they need to be having a value add to that market, a website, ad template, and then somebody else does the work physically. It works that well. So anyway, with that said, if you're interested in that, I'll let you know what markets we have campaigns in, what results we can get in those markets if you reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com. I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. It was educational, gets you a lot of results, and I want to see you on the next one where we have another great strategy for you then. See you later.